this morning, okay? We laid the foundation, the principles, and that's the number one thing. See, the real job is not to give people skill sets, because skill sets will change. You're going to need certain skill sets at times, and other times you won't. It's the power of thought. And see, principles are constant, and they will endure. And if you have that power of thought with you in every situation, any situation you're in, here's the good thing, is we hear this talk about authenticity. People, listen, you need to have dialogues and language patterns. I prefer a language pattern that's based in principle, so you can show up as you. Because raise your hand if you can see a salesman or saleswoman coming. And so can your audience. So why do we subscribe to that? So now, what you've got are the principles, the foundational principles that have withstood the test of time. And you can take those back no matter what situation that you come across. Whether you're working with a consumer, whether you're working with your current agents. You get some value you can use to coaching your agents?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay? You got value you can use in an interview. And is the interview and the prospecting process of recruiting looking different maybe than you thought it was a little bit?
Yes.
Dramatically. I mean, raise your hand if you love being sold. Yet that's what we do. See, everyone wants to buy. Everyone wants something better. No one wants to be sold. Now do a little self-examination at everything that you're doing back in your marketplace, in recruiting, in working with the consumer. We've got to flip the script. The heart chooses, the head justifies. We lead with emotion, we justify with logic. Look at your marketing though. Is your marketing focused that way, or is it the opposite? Is it the way that you're interacting with a prospect based on logic first, or is it based on making those emotional and psychological bonds? See, are you starting to see that maybe there's some things we're doing backwards? It's called human behavior. But see, here's the situation, is so much that's been given to us, and I'll say like I said this morning, so much that we're taught and is shared with us is because we buy it, not because it works. And that's the truth. You with me on that one? We can rah-rah the grind, we can this and that, and then I can sit next to, retired, wealthy people that are miserable because they have no idea how to live a life outside of this. And balance, when I wrote my book, Interrupt the Pattern, if I were to look back 3 years ago and publishing that, my one chapter was on balance. And we're all growing. We're all learning. I'm on the journey right alongside you. Now as I look back at that chapter would be titled Rhythm. Because a lot of times what we do is we beat ourselves up, this life work thing. And I'll just share with you where I'm at. It's just life for me. It's all life. Because the root and the core principles of what I stand by and what I do is to impact human beings. That's it. I'm not attached to the money. You know what's so interesting? Everyone's talking about, and we talk about numbers. The numbers matter. Okay, I'm a numbers guy. I get the numbers. But you know what's interesting? We ask people to reflect on the first quarter. Okay, we ask people to project out the second quarter. How much time are you spending? How much time is your coach, your leader, your training saying, so let's look at what you did that made you really happy? What things on that bucket list? See, I like the bucket list because most people, it continues to be a list. Hey, how many of you were thinking really big in December, but April 1, you look back and you didn't do anything big, right? So I just want you to find a rhythm in that because it inspires us. It inspires me to be here. Listen, I'm on the mountains, But you know what? I'm in the gym. I'm here because it's all part of that rhythm, okay, that allows me to be the best that I can be. So find your rhythm. That's what I want you to get. So now what we're going to get into is this. See, the bottom line is you're here today because you don't want to have a job. You want to have a business. And there's many people that are mistaken and think that they have a business and they don't. And the definition of a job, the differentiation between a job and a business is a job is something you have to be there to generate revenues. And if you leave, okay, if you're gone, you freak out, first of all. And that might be a therapeutic thing. You might need a therapist for control issues. Just kidding. Listen, I got therapists, so that's called normal, I think, or maybe abnormal, right? So here's the thing, though, is are you able to leave? See, here's the true measurement of great leadership, okay? And whether you have a job or a business, is the business doesn't skip a beat when you're gone. here's the other piece that I want you to think about too. It may not skip a beat, but see the other part, you may be doing everything right, but you may be leaving out of your personality and not principle. That's the other trap. So if your personality is removed, see, here's where, we go back to where I started this morning, is people don't join or leave a company, they join or leave the competency and relevancy of the leader. But here's what I want you to really get to. They don't necessarily join you, they join the way you lead, the way you live, the way you teach, the way you train, the way you coach. Can those things be transferred to other people in your organization when you're not there? Sure they can. They better be or you won't grow. Right? See, because here's the thing you need to understand in leadership too, is you're a vessel. Okay, you're saying, I'm not going to share with anyone. Oh, really? Well, what about the person back there in your life? If they decided, 1, 2, or 3 people, they decided they were going to share with you, would you be sitting where you're at? No. And again, we go back to the principle this morning of people don't believe what they're told, they believe what they experience. Our responsibility is to allow people to have an experience of who we are, what we do, so that over time, one of 2 things can happen. Okay? If something changes, you're their destination. Or number 2, they see value and want to join you. You want to know what's really cool? When we do it that way, because we're going with the principles of people need to experience us first, instead of, listen, it's your job to tell people, I'm a great leader. Wow, tell me something, newsflash. Okay? What do you think happens when we attract people the right way? Okay? What do you think happens when we get down to the business relationship? Do you think there's a lot of grinding out the commissions and deals, or do you think the trust factor has built up so high that that's a non-issue? Which do you think? This is the interactive part. I ask a question, you get an answer, it's after lunch. The trust is built up. And so let's go back and use the parallel comparison of listings. Okay, we used that and that really resonated, right? Versus a recruit. Okay? Has anyone ever walked into the laid out listing where you could have said, here's the commission, here's the no questions asked? Yes. Was it because you were a good salesman?
No.
Oh no, what was it that got them to do that? What had already been established? So why do we keep selling people? Wow, that's how simple it is, man. That's how simple it is. Because we all have the program. See, anyone you're trying to sell, including yourself, when someone's trying to sell you, has a program running in the back of their head. You know what the program is? No. And you're trying to run the program that gets them to say yes. How about remove the friction? Think about that. Remove the friction. Handle the objections in advance. And talk about the fact that, listen, we've all experienced being sold. You know what? I'm just not going to choose that path. I'm going to choose the path. Let people know how it's going to happen. Let them know how it's going to happen. Does this make sense, you guys?
Yes.
And I handle the commission objection up front. Okay? And I handle the time issue up front. Okay? So here's what we're going to do in the second half of today. Okay? We're going to take a look at prospecting. And I just always have to say this. No theory. I've done it. Okay? How do I prospect? The different forms of prospecting, the frequency, the content which can get people stumped. Okay? We're going to then take a look at our interview. Okay? The next thing we're going to take a look at is our follow-up after the interview. All right? Then we're going to look at our conversion. How do we ultimately get top producers to join our company, to join our team, and build this freight train of agents wanting to be a part of who we are, what we do, and what we stand for. Okay? But there's one other element. And I shared this with you earlier today. People will call me up and say, I'm doing all the right things, and we're a great company, and I just need help on the phone. You know the first thing I say to them is, I'll bet you don't. I'll bet the problem is what you're sending before you make the phone call. Okay? And so what's happening is this, is we are trying to make withdrawals from a bank account we've made no deposits in. Remember, let's go back. What are we selling when we're making a recruiting call? The benefit of meeting with you. Does your language mirror that? What's the benefit? The fur-lined bird bath in your break room and the buffets? I mean, really, the stuff people talk about. You know, the 37 postcards on a crescent moon in a low tide. Wow, I'm inspired to join your company. I mean, really, you laugh. I sit in interviews. I watch this stuff as I'm consulting. You know what? Here's what I want you guys to think about. I want you to think about the questions that keep people up at night. How do I generate more leads? How do I get higher conversion on my leads? Okay? I'm hearing about everyone else getting Facebook, ads to work for them. I'm hearing about everyone else getting organic leads from Facebook and converting them. I'm hearing about people that get huge traffic at their open house and convert them. Are those questions? Here's what I want you to think about. I want you to stay in the principles that we've talked about all morning. Now you see where we plug these pieces in. So we've talked about these principles and how humans behave and how they respond and how they don't, what pushes them back and where the resistance is. Now, here's the next piece. I need to meet them where they're at. And here's a little number for you guys to write down, okay? And we'll jump into this in a second. Here's the insider news for you. 95% of your audience that you're prospecting to is indifferent. They aren't even thinking about making a move. So tell me how that sales rap works that you run at them and says, we're so amazing. Dude, listen, I'm just trying to figure out how to generate more leads. And you're sitting thinking, yeah, but I want to recruit them. Meet them where they're at. Because we know the three most important subjects to a human being are me, myself, and I. Because here's the deal. See, everyone has a challenge. They're looking for a solution. And if they're sitting in that challenge, wouldn't you guess that maybe their team leader, maybe their broker owner, maybe their manager, maybe the training in their company isn't satisfying for them? Okay? And what's the reality that an agent maybe has a challenge, but they've got an ongoing business or they're afraid of change, is going to sit down and leave after the first meeting with you? No, it doesn't happen. Rarely. That's 2 words. Rarely. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to work on this. We're going to look at this, and we know this. See, recruiting is not a one-trick pony. Recruiting is not an event. Recruiting is a series of events within a system and process that allows people to have an experience of you. Recruiting is not a one-trick pony. Recruiting is not an event. It's a series of events within a system and process that allows people to have an experience of your leadership so that one of 2 things happen over time. They see value in your leadership because you demonstrated it, okay? While your competition is in the barrel of monkeys with everyone else, shooting the arrow at the same target, feature benefiting, feature dumping people, okay? And you're going to allow them to have an experience. And you're going to give them business building tips. You're going to share everything. You're not going to hold it back. John, I can't do that. What, did you invent light or electricity? I mean, think about that. I can't tell them our secrets. Okay. Wow. Then why are you still working? I mean, if your secrets are, really? Does that ring a bell? I can't let them know what we're doing. So that's one piece, but let me take a step further. You may say, well, John, I'm just not going to. Okay, that's cool. I just challenge you on that one. Raise your hand if you've ever gone to a seminar and you were so jacked up to take action. And you didn't. Keep it up. I still do. It's called human beings. Right? Oh, wait a minute. So that really makes sense because here's what happens. Ready? It's called the highest form of human persuasion. The number one way to get a human being to make a choice, to make a change is self-discovery. And so you sit down for 30 minutes, you ask them thought-provoking questions about their business that allows them to self-discover, not where there's pain, because we've been taught expose pain. No! I want people to self-discover where there's an opportunity with me. That's what I want people to self-discover. There's an opportunity with me. And then I want to leave the meeting and ask them what action steps you're going to take. And they leave the meeting and say, oh, wow, he didn't try to sell me. I've already differentiated myself. Why would I sell? Because write this down. I've surveyed 1,000 broker owner, managers, team leaders over the last 10 years. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I've hung around a lot and I've paid attention. It takes 14 contacts on average before an experienced agent makes a move in some way, shape, or form. So, ready? And this is so much of the training that we get, and so much of just, you know, the narrative is, but you gotta close them. Okay, let's fight human nature. Let's fight human nature. I mean, raise your hand if consistently on the first interview with an experienced agent has business going, they're joining you. Oh, okay, that would be never. Right? It doesn't happen. And remember that illustration I made to you? And the question I asked, are you putting the equal effort, energy, resource into recruiting one agent that will give you 10, 12, 20 times what one transaction? Was that kind of profound to look at that? Whoa. Okay, so we're going to unpack that. You guys ready to go for it? Okay, let's do it.